Hey everyone, how's it going? We are going to see if in fact this is going to go live because we had some issues yesterday with our interview with the Blinks team. And let's see here. Still not going live. Oh, maybe we can do something here. Start podcast. So I'm using this new software. It's called Yellow Duck, and it helps you pipe in your stream into Instagram Live. And it does not seem like it is working, my friends. So we're going to try one more time here. I want to do a box opening. I want to do it live on air. A little bit tough to do when you can't actually go live. Let's see here. No bueno. No bueno. All right. I think what I'm going to do, my friends, since I cannot tell if I'm live or not, if there's anybody out there watching, let me know. Let's see here. Maybe you can find another way. You gotta love this dead air. It's fantastic. Oh, we are live. There we are. Okay. Cool beans. All right. My apologies. Still working through the technology, and I have my visuals here. Pavlos K just joined. Welcome. Thanks. Congratulations on that giveaway that you won a few months back. That was awesome. Okay, so what are we going through? We are going through, my friends, opening up a box that arrived from the Game Crafter. Should be a quick live feed, but I thought that anytime I get a box in the mail, I like to kind of share it with the audience and let you guys kind of see behind the scenes as to what we do day in and day out. Not only do we podcast, but we also develop our own games. Tin Robot Games is my company. We've got several titles out there now, 7 actual published titles. 4 of them were Kickstarters. And we're working on another game. My development, Pavel, my brother, Adam, who's also our design partner on pretty much all of our games, he and I are working on a game that we're hoping to launch this fall. Might be next spring. We'll see. It's a heavier weight game. So this game is an engine builder. There's a little bit of worker placement in it. There's a bit of bidding for resources. It's cool. It's a really cool concept we're working on. We're code naming it right now, Cities. And there'll be more information coming out on the actual theme in the coming months. But I wanted to get some better pieces from Game Crafter because I was just using pieces that we have kind of laying around. And that's what most game designers do, is you just use whatever you have around you, whether you're cutting up pieces of paper, grabbing dice from another box. We've been using cubes, quite frankly, from the Nutty Squirrels of Yelkwood Forest game because we have lots of stock on hand. So we've been using cubes from that. And dice I got from the local dollar store. And of course, printing out a lot of the artwork. And again, we're going to be sharing the theme and some of the direction we're going on the artwork. We're going to hire a proper artist to do the artwork on this, but even as stand-in, what we have looks kind of cool, the concept. And what we're getting from Game Crafter, and I'm going to just switch cameras here. And we call this the puppet arm cam. I did angle a little bit different, so you don't have my puppet arms, but you do have like little puppet hands. It's almost like a T-Rex. It looks like little T-Rex hands below there. So we're going to open up this box and show you some of the cool stuff you can get from the Game Crafter. And this is an order I did about a week and a half ago, so it didn't take long to get here, under 2 weeks. You could pay extra to have it expedited, but I find that for me, this is where it's good to work on things further out, so you're not in a rush to get stuff, so you're not having to burn cost trying to get things faster. So what did we order? We ordered, again, we had these cubes that I was using from Nutty Squirrels of Yelkwood Forest. And we're using that for the people as well as the resources. And it worked okay. Let me keep that box. But we wanted to be able to better kind of segment the resources, segment the people out, and really have them look different right when they're on the board. Because we're probably ready about 4 weeks out from actually play testing this now with some other people, bring other people from our extended group in to play test this game. And we don't want to play test this digitally. We actually want to do this live. We want to play test it live with people. So we want to have some good pieces that we can use for that. So that's going to be a tough call. So another good thing too is like this is literally the number of pieces that might actually be in the game. So I wanted to get a sense of the weight. So I ordered enough that if I had enough pieces for a 4-player game, what would it weigh? It'll give us an idea as we start planning out, Kickstarters and so forth, what kind of shipping costs and so forth we can expect. But man, these are cool. So these are from GameCrafter. These are mini Meeples. So I'm going to hold these up to the camera. So this one here is pink. There's a reason why it's pink, but we're not going to explain that today. And then this one is got like a chrome finish to it. I got to tell you, I'm kind of digging the chrome. I know Adam and I were kind of debating. We're like, well, I'll just get both. And then worst case, we use the other ones in another game. But man, those chrome ones look slick. What I like about them is the light bounces off them. You can see right here on the sheet below here that the light is literally reflecting off of this. And my big worry about having initially with these, because when you see them on a screen when you're buying them, hey, A to Z Games, how's it going? We're just doing a quick box opening right now of the GameCrafter parts I have coming in for a game that we're working on. We're hoping to launch either in the fall or next spring. As I was explaining to the audience, we have pieces that we've been using from just odds and sods we have around the office, and we want to start getting better pieces for this game as we get ready to start playtesting it with other people. All right, you're up to speed. So when I saw this in the shopping cart online, it's tough to see the reflective nature of it. So they just kind of looked gray, and my worry is that you wouldn't see them on your player board. But now that I see these live, and I'm glad I did get them live, you can see the reflective nature of them. Like that is just, it's cool. And they're Meeples, but they're mini Meeples, which is exactly what we need because each player board is going to be putting, by the end of the game, you could have like 36 of these guys on your player board per player. So that's a lot. And, but you want to be able to see them. Okay. So that's those. I'm going to probably play with both when we do some of our play testing and see which one kind of plays better with the artwork. But those are probably cooler than I expected they would be. Breeding Gamers, welcome, my friends. Welcome. We're looking at some GameCrafter pieces for a game we're working on for this fall. All right, so these are the pieces of the people. Okay, so I'm going to put these back. This game for sure is going to need resource bowls just because there's just such a crap load of resources that are going to ship in this game. It's not going to be a cheap game, medium weight game, but our hope is that when you have it on the table, it feels substantial, like robust, that there's enough stuff there. Make sure they're grippable. That's a good point. Are you thinking grippable like when they are on the board so they don't slide? Are you saying grippable as in to hold them? Maybe let me know in the comments because I got a response to that actually. The other part is the resources. So the resources we had, part of my idea was having too many resources on the table. Again, we could be getting into hundreds. So what I want to do is have this kind of different valuation system. So like the pink ones, for instance, would be worth 1. Clear ones would maybe be worth, or the black ones would be worth like 4, and then the clear ones would be worth like 8. You can pick them up with 2 fingers. Yeah, you can pick them up with 2 fingers. Overly tiny piece would be awkward to handle. I agree. I hate trying to pick up small pieces. These ones actually fit. They're nice and thick. I don't know if you can see that. So even with cubes, which can be sometimes cumbersome, these are heavier weight than cubes. Like they're thicker and they're wider. In terms of sliding on the board, we're not going to have that issue because these player boards are going to be triple layer. So they're going to be die cut. So these little pieces are actually going to fit in little holes that are shaped to these pieces, which is super cool. And the player board itself is going to have like an empty layer on the inside, so you can actually change out what the inside function of those player boards is as well. if it goes to plan, I think it's going to be really, really slick. Again, we're really pumped about it. These turned out quite well in terms of contrast. Love to get you guys' thoughts. If these are on the table, I don't think you would mix these up. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Because that's some of the concern sometimes, is trying to get your pieces quickly when you have everything kind of jumbled up together. But I think, dual layer boards. Well, these are going to be, these might even be, well, these will be triple layer boards. So we did the a triple layer on the Nutty Squirrels the Oakwood Forest. I don't have one in my office here. And those ones had cutouts as well as a cutout on the back for the cards to kind of nest in. I want to take that one step further and have actual slots that different cards can actually slide into the board to kind of build the board out, which I think will be cool. My only concern about the chrome is, are they going to blend in too much with the other resources here? Maybe, maybe not, but not any worse than the pink Meeples, because the pink Meeples and the pink resources, I think, are too close. So I think and this is why I love doing this, like getting the actual... Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, very similar to that size. This is why I love having like actual samples in front of me, tactile samples. I used the Game Crafter when we did Nutty Squirrels the Elkwood Forest. We did a dual layer board there, or sorry, single layer board, and then we kind of mocked it up into a dual layer at the office. But man, it makes a big, big difference when you can physically hold the game. You know, I'll give you an example would be Hamsters versus Hippos, right? So this is our last Kickstarter that finished earlier this year. Right now we're working through the manufacturing of this, the final manufacturing now for, to get it made and then fulfill it. And having the physical copy in our hand really helped us see things that we didn't see when we saw it in a digital format. And simple things like you were just saying, like about picking up pieces. The little flower tokens were way too thin. You couldn't actually pick them up and grip them, right? So we made sure that those are thicker. Things like contrast, when you're actually physically putting things on the board together, how do they contrast with each other? So I'm seeing resources here, and now I got to think, okay, if these are on the table with the Meeples, are people going to be able to quickly sort them out, or is it going to be a big mess? So that was kind of the idea behind these, but I'm actually pretty happy with where we land on these. We've been had to go and pillage resources from Ink and Gold. I don't know if any of you guys own Ink and Gold. Fun game. It's a push your luck game. Very, very simple. But in there's these little resource pieces, kind of like these, and they're actually gems, right? So they've got like green, black, and I think white, which act as kind of like gems you're collecting on this trail as you're trying to escape these little Mayan pyramids. And so we've been using those, but thematically, these are getting into the colors, I think, more that we're looking at in this cities game. And we're pretty pumped about it. So that's kind of phase one. From here, what I want to do is we're going to start... Oh, good. You got Ink and Gold. Great game. We want to start seeding out some of the stuff they're working on and keeping you guys kind of involved in the process so you can see, how some of these things come together right from ideation stage. We will be, I think, at the draft kind of, artwork, or kind of show you how the boards lay, our intention for the layout of the boards, probably the next month. I am trying to find an artist. I've been kind of toying between steampunk and more fantasy. So it's kind of like a futuristic city. And steampunk could be kind of cool. But when I've been doing... thanks, guys. Yeah, that's right. You did review Hamsters versus Hippos. There's some changes that we made to that based on that. I'm actually... the biggest one is that we're hoping to actually print I know I'm jumping all over the place, but just because I want to address that comment on Hamsters versus Hippos, we're actually going to put 6 languages in that box. So we're going to have an instruction sheet that's English French. We're going to have an instruction sheet that is that folds out into 6 panels. That'll be Spanish, Italian, and then we're going to have one that's going to be, it's going to be German, Italian. We're going to have one that's going to be Spanish, Portuguese. So 6 languages, but we want to actually have those printed and actually in the box. What we ran into with Hamsters versus Hippos is the factory made an error, right? And you get these errors sometimes dealing with, trying to communicate in the evenings in another country in languages that you're not necessarily speaking the same language. Although English is understood, a lot of stuff kind of gets lost, right, in the communication. So, and then when they're dealing with their factories, things get lost as well. And so what we had on Nutty Squirrels the Elkwood Forest is There was 19 books. Like, so we had printed something like 50 extra books that were German Italian. German Spanish that were going to go out if people wanted to get a German book. They just, in the pledge manager, say, yeah, give me a German book, and we'd ship them for free, a German book outside of the game, with the game. The factory made an error, and we started getting reports from people saying, I got my game, I love it, but the instructions are in German. What's going on? And I'm like, well, that's impossible, because those books were separated and sent as like an add-on. So this came back like within 24 hours, 3 people hit us with this. I was like, oh my God. So I contacted the factory and said, guys, what's going on? Right? Like, I'm hearing reports that German books are in the box. I'm starting to think that whatever was extra that was made over and above the 50 just got thrown into the pile, and people didn't realize, just thought they all looked the same, and they got mixed in with a bunch. Well, of course, that's what actually happened. And so they went through and did the math, and they said there was about up to a maximum of 19 books that ended up in the box instead of English. So we have 1,500 games, and somewhere in those 1,500, there's 19 that, hey, Better Half Reviews. How's it going, guys? Thanks for joining. Also, thanks for your review of the Hamsters versus Hippos, too. That was very cool. And we made, I think it was your top 10 preview prototype books or games or something like that. So we made a cool list, which was awesome. Maybe it's top 20. Anyway, so now we've got these games, 1,500 games. We've got here in Canada, I think we've got 400 in the States. I think there was like 600. The rest is in the UK being deployed to Europe. And I had to communicate to all these distribution centers saying, guys, somewhere in all these skids, there are 19 games that have the wrong instruction booklet in it, and we have no way of knowing until they open the box. So what do you do, right? You can't have, people just start, we made the top 20. Awesome. Thank you so much. We can't open every game before we ship it out. So we had the factory send 20 books to the States, 20 to Canada, 20 to the UK, just in case they end up getting pocketed and kind of end up in one region. One would think that, okay, if they got put into the run at one point, then all those games kind of bunched up in that area would end up on the same skid. We did not get that lucky. So they've showed up so far in the States and in Europe. So we've been very apologetic to our backers where this happened. We get another book out to them like right away within 72 hours that we sent them as soon as they let us know. But these things happen, which really sucks. So we're trying to avoid that with Hamsters versus Hippos. So the idea I had was, why don't we just put all 6 language books right in the box? And that way everybody gets all 6. If there's languages you don't want, you don't have to have them. You just toss them in the garbage and just keep the ones you want. But I think that will eliminate the error rate. Long story short, what that means is the factory's like, oh, well, that's more paper than we intended, so we need to requote. And while we're requoting, hey, by the way, we're seeing that, global rates have gone up here and there and so forth. So last night, talking with the factory, came back, cost of the game went up about $2 a unit, which might not seem like a lot. But once you factor in exchange, once you put that into retailer upcharges and so forth, like, it's pretty meaningful. Like $2 in China, by the time it gets all the way through the distribution system, could be like $10 on this end, right? So, we had to reach out to Meeple on board, who's our licensing agent, Michael Raftopoulos there, great guy. And he put me in contact with some factories. And we're going to get a couple other factories quoted. We may stick with the one we have. They did a great job on their prototypes for sure. Obviously prototypes are prototypes. There's always areas for improvement. But we got to figure it out because we got to get the cost down. So anyway, so if you're just joining us, what this entire thing was about is I was doing a box opening on these pieces for a game we're working on that's coming out in the fall. Ab and I are very excited. We're codenaming it Cities. We're trying to decide which resource cubes we want to go with. So we wanted to physically have them in our hand to see what they look like. I'm pretty happy with the clear versus the black versus the pink resources. The Meeples, I think the mini Meeples look super cool. So I'm going to hold these up to the camera again. And they just look awesome. Probably going to go with the chrome one. I know Adam was leaning towards chrome as well. But because they're mini, the actual player boards, which will be triple layered, will actually have cutouts that are shaped like the Meeple, so you can actually put your pieces in there. There's going to be an engine builder with a little bit of worker placement built in, as well as some bidding for resources. So there you are, guys. Stay tuned. Thank you so much for joining me live. This was fun. You take care. Cheers. This has been an episode of the Board Game Binge podcast, hosted by James Staley, produced by James Staley and Mike Bruner, with original music by Nick Smith. If you would like to watch these interviews live, simply subscribe to our YouTube channel, Board Game Binge, and you'll get access to live interviews, giveaways, and interesting board game content from across the industry. I can't wait for you to join us. See you next time.